Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Mina and today's video is going to be me reading a bunch of historical fiction novels. I absolutely adore historical fiction novels. They are some of my favorite novels to read. I really love the genre. I really adore specific authors in the genre, and I just really love history, and I am always so amazed by how people are able to create such a beautiful story in a specific period of time that they didn't live in. So the first book that I'm going to be starting with is Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore, and this is a Regency era novel, and I love the cover. That's the only reason I'm picking it up, honestly, and also because I love Bridgerton. No idea what it's about, like I said, but I'm very excited because I love the genre and I hope I enjoy it. Started with Bringing Down the Duke. I made it 185 pages in, and this book is a story about this girl who is one of the first women, I believe, who get admission to Oxford, and a part of her conditions for getting a stipend to attend Oxford, she has to recruit very powerful men into this women's suffrage movement. She decides to go after the Duke, who everybody knows he's like very brooding, very dark, very mysterious. Nobody really talks to him. Nobody even dares to come near him, but she does, and it just goes from there. And I am going to DNF it, unfortunately, because honestly, at 185 pages, I feel like, I know it's kind of ridiculous, but there's, I believe, another 200 pages left in this book, or like above 150 pages left, and I just don't see myself caring enough about the characters or just what's going on in the story for me to want to read 150 pages more of this story and of these characters. I had a really hard time getting into it because I feel like the writing style is very like Bridgerton. If you like Bridgerton-esque novels, then maybe you would like this. I personally, when it comes to Bridgerton themed things, I just prefer to watch the show. I don't think I've ever read a Regency era romance where I absolutely adored it. I just felt really bored for the entirety of the 158 pages of this book, which is really unfortunate because I really wanted to like it. I really adore the cover. I think it's one of the most beautiful covers that I've ever seen, but like I said, it just happens to be that Regency era romances are not for me. The next book that I'm going to be reading is I Must Betray You by Ruta Sepetys, and I have read a lot of Ruta Sepetys novels. I'll put them up on the screen, and I really adored every single one of them. I think I've given every single historical fiction novel that she's written 5 stars. I listened to The Fountains of Silence, I believe, in 2020, and I really liked it, and I read the other 2. I really do adore her writing, and I think she's one of the most just talented people at creating a historical fiction novel, because every book of hers that I've read, I've adored so much, and I gave 2 5 stars, and so I don't see myself DNFing this one. I don't know anything about this one other than the fact that it's a novel set in Romania during the communist regime under the dictatorship, 1989. I think I'm going to love this. I am going to go out on a limb and say that I'm probably going to give this a 5 stars because I just adore Ruta Sepetys, and she's never let me down before. Like I said, I've given all of her historical fiction novels 5 stars. I don't see why this one would be any different. I really adore this cover. She is so good. The woman that she is, I always end up searching the things that she's actually talking about because they're just, the way she describes them is so real, and it feels real. And I feel very attached to every character that she's ever created. So I think I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that it's probably going to be a very highly rated book, probably 5 stars, judging based off of my average with this author. I know my tastes. I have finished with I Must Betray You by Ruta Sepetys. This story follows Christian, who is a young boy living in Romania in 1989 when it was under communism and it was like under a really strict regime, and how that affected him as a young man. He is in high school and he basically gets recruited to become an informer because he gets caught with a dollar bill, and at the time you were not supposed to have any foreign currency or anything, and just that alone can really like damn you. But because he gets recruited, he basically has a sick grandfather, and the guy who recruits him tells him that he will get medicine for his grandfather and will help him live longer if Christian decides to become an informer on a friend who his mother works for as a cleaner, who is an American living in Romania at the time. And first of all, let's talk about the fact that I gave this 5 stars. Absolutely gave it 5 stars. I went into it expecting to give it a 5 stars because, like I said, every historical fiction novel that I've read by this author, I've given 5 stars to. I just knew that I really adore Ruta Sepetys and I really like her writing, and I really like how she captivates your attention from the very beginning. The story is very heart-wrenching. It's very, very deep, very hurtful, very thought-provoking, and it just shows you how much mistrust there was between people back then and how much mistrust there was like to your own self and the government and where you live, who you talk to, what you talk about. They have to talk in whispers because they are not like, they don't want to be caught saying jokes about the government that they live in, otherwise they would be damned. They can't be caught sneaking anything from America. They can't be caught watching movies from a different country. It just creates this hostile environment. They have to line up outside in like the cold and layer up to go get food. It's really, really, really just so beautiful. I really admire Ruta Sepetys for the research that she does, because every book that she's written always feels so real and so like not at all judgmental. It doesn't feel like she's sitting here judging all these people and judging what they're going through. She's talking about them in such a sweet way and in a way that makes you just hurt for them. And I definitely felt that reading this book. It was very, very hurtful, very sad, very deep, and very just thought-provoking. And I highly recommend anything by Ruta Sepetys, honestly.
honestly. I think she is one of, if not my favorite historical fiction author there is. I love all of her books, and I do see myself continuing to look into what she does in the future because I think she is so talented and so incredibly intelligent at creating a world that makes you so attached to the characters that you're reading about. And that's how I feel with every character of hers that I've read about. So 5 stars, definitely recommend it. Definitely went into it expecting a 5 stars, so I am so happy that it met my expectations and made up for bringing down the Duke. So on to the last book that I will be reading in this video, which is the one that I am the most intimidated by. Everybody say it with me. The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, who, if you don't know, wrote Babel, and this is a historical fiction novel from what I understand. She is a peasant, she is a student, she is a soldier, she is a goddess. And at the front it says they trained her for a war. She intends to end it. This is what the cover looks like. This is like one of the most popular historical fiction novels there is. Every time I look into this genre, this book is brought up. I see a lot of people reading this and I see a lot of their reactions. Everybody I know and everybody I watch has given this one a full 5 stars. They've had nothing but absolutely good things and just absolute praise to say about this book. So that makes me very, very excited to pick it up. I'm very excited to see where it goes, what it's like, what it's about. Because like I said, I have no idea. I go into my books not knowing anything about what they are about. This book is 530 pages and the pages are very, very thin. I'm not sure how long this is going to take me. I hope it doesn't take me long because with this one, I read it in a singular sitting because it's 290 something pages. So it was very, very easy to get through. I don't know if this one will have a lot of world building. I don't know if this is like about real world or if it's like a made up world. I honestly could not tell you anything about this book. No idea. Empire-wide test to find the most talented youth to study at the academies. Girl, I have no idea. But all I know is that I'm very, very excited for it because, like I said, I've heard nothing but absolute praise for this book. So this is the one that I'm going to be picking up next, and hopefully it meets all of my high expectations. Otherwise, I'm going to be very disappointed. I need this video to end on a bang. To think that I am in a reading slump, unfortunately, because of this book, which is really unfortunate because I really like the way that it's written. I read Babel by R.F. Kuang when it came out, and I remember not taking as long with it as I did with this book, and I feel like Babel was a lot longer than this book. So I'm wondering what is going on. I have been reading this book since last week. It is the end of another week now. And I think I picked it up maybe Wednesday or Thursday of last week. And it's currently Saturday of the week after. I cannot get myself to pick this book up. So I am, like I said, am reading The Poppy War. And I am on page 429 on chapter 22. And I don't even know how I would even begin to explain it to you. This is not, I think the problem is that this is not what I had in mind when I said that I was going to make a historical fiction book video, because this to me is not historical fiction. It's historical fantasy, maybe. I don't know. This is not what I expected. I expected something like I Must Betray You by Ruta Sepetys, and I knew that I was getting myself into something like that. So when I read it, I wasn't really surprised. With this one, I'm genuinely wondering how it can be classified as a historical fiction when it's not a historical fiction. To me, a historical fiction is a story about something like I Must Betray You, Fountains of Silence, something like Beiruta Sepetys, The Book Thief, stuff like that. Stuff that makes sense, stuff that's rooted in reality. To me, this doesn't feel like it's rooted in reality. And like I said, I honestly have no idea how to describe it to you. She gets sent. She's like this very poor girl who is about to be married off to this old man so her parents can have trade routes that are better because he has trade routes. Well, they're not really her parents. They're just her guardians, I guess. They're about to marry her off. She doesn't want to be married off, so she decides to study for this test. That's a very huge thing. She studies, and she takes this test. She ends up ranking #1 in the list of all these people who have taken the test. And she gets sent to this town where she gets to go to this school, kind of like a training school that helps her train for a war. And I just don't know. I cannot get myself into getting into it, but I am also into it at the same time. Like, I wouldn't have read 400 plus pages if I wasn't 100%, if I wasn't at least some percentage into it, if that makes any sense. I would have DNF'd this last week if I wasn't interested in it. I don't know if it's the week that I'm having that's making me kind of iffy about finishing it, but I'm not going to stop right here. I don't think that would be fair to this book because I enjoy the way it's written so much. I really enjoy Rin as a character and the world around her. I think if there's one thing that R.F. Kuang does really, really well, it's that she is able to build a world that you care about and are interested in because she herself is interested in that world, and you can tell how passionate she is about telling the story because it comes across in the story that you're reading. So that's why I don't want to DNF it, and that's why I kept pushing through even though I've been reading it for 6 days now, which makes me like want to gouge my eyes out because I'm like, how is it taking me this long? It's a 500-page book. Usually that takes me like 3 days max. But there were some days where I didn't pick it up. There were some days where I had other stuff going on, so I wasn't able to read as much. So I'm wondering if that's the case, and that's why I haven't DNF'd it. Because like I said, I'm really interested in the story. I really like Rin as a character. I like the world that's around her. I like the magic system. I like the stakes and the way that you can tell that the stakes are so high and that she is so... and she's going through all these things at once, and it makes it so interesting, but at the same time, there's just so much, and I feel like a lot of it could have been cut out, and it wouldn't have had the need to be as long as it is, because the pages are really thin too, and there's a lot of writing on them. So with that being said, I just wanted to update you to tell you that I haven't really been filming as much this week, specifically with this book and with the first book, but that's because this has been a video that has really just, when I expected it to, yeah. So, unfortunate, but it is what it is. I am going to sit here and finish it and then come back to you when I have my thoughts and opinions on it. But I'm hoping that the ending will make me interested in finishing the rest of the series, because as of right now, I don't think I can make it through another book 2 or book 3 or book 4. Or maybe I just need to reread it at a better time and have it find me at the right time, at the right place. Maybe this is just not the time for me to read it. I don't know. All I know is that I'm going to stay here and I'm going to finish this book and I will finish this video. That's been filming for a lot longer than I thought it would, unfortunately. See you when I finish. Finished with The Poppy War, and I am giving this one, I'm between a 3.5 and a 3.75 stars, just because I don't really know how I feel about it. I already told you my thoughts and opinions. I don't know that the ending really cemented me wanting to finish the rest of the series. I think I'm going to need to come back to this at a time where I'm not potentially on the verge of a reading slump, where I can enjoy it to the fullest extent, because it's really excellently written. I think it's one of the more well-written historical fiction novels, historical fantasy fiction novels. I think it's R.F. Kuang, so you already know it's excellent, and the way that it's written makes you want to continue reading. And I think she does so much great research into whatever she's interested in that it makes you interested in it as well and makes you want to read and continue reading. But for some reason, maybe it's the time that I read this, and I think I need to give it a fair shot, maybe further on in the year, maybe next year, maybe in a couple of years, where I'll pick it up again and try again. But as of right now, I don't think that I want to continue on with the rest of the series. I'm glad that I didn't DNF it, because having 2 DNFs in one video would have been such a disappointment, but it could have been a DNF. I mean, it's not like I was 100% down with it 100% of the time. Like I said, I do think it could have benefited from having a little bit of it cut out, but it is what it is. I still really enjoyed it, and I still really adore R.F. Kuang, and I still look forward to her writing because I think she is a genius and her books always deliver. So even though this didn't shock me and wow me, I think I will probably end up giving it another chance at another point in my life, because I feel like this is a series that I probably potentially could find interest in. It just didn't happen at the right time or at the right place. So I will see this probably again at some point, maybe this year or next year. But as of right now, that is it. That is the end of this video. Let me know down below what your favorite historical fiction novels are. Maybe I'll do this another time and maybe find better books, because this was a video I was very excited for, but I feel like I've really disappointed myself and disappointed you guys. I hope that's not the case, but if it is, I understand. But yeah, let me know any recommendations down below. I look forward to reading your comments and reading your recommendations. I think you guys probably have a better grasp of this genre than I probably do, because I only read Ruta Sepetys and a couple of the more popular ones. So let me know down below, and let me know down below what books you are looking forward to reading and what your thoughts and opinions were on any of these books that I've read, if you've read them. And with that being said, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know down below if you did. I hope you have the very best day. Treat yourself to something nice, and I'll see you guys again next week with another video. Goodbye!